Hello. Testing, 1, 2, good. Microphone works. Works better if it's actually facing my face though. So I'm not talking past it. There we go. That's nice. Okay, so what's the plan today, I hear you ask? Well, the plan today is the same plan as Sunday pretty much. So we're gonna do a little bit of kind of studying. As you can see, I've got some shit up. And then we're gonna do a little bit of a grind. So I haven't played much since Sunday. I've only had these 2 sessions. This one was the stream that we did on Sunday, where we finished down a bit, and this was Monday evening, I think, where I played for a little bit, and we essentially won back what we'd lost on the stream on Sunday. So I'm going to dive pretty much straight in. The first hand I'm going to look at is the hand where we lost the most on Sunday during the stream, which I took some liberties, to be fair, this hand. So the hand is pocket jacks. The situation is with that. The situation is a 3-bet pot out of position. So the way we kind of start this hand off is naturally with an open. The cut off 3 bets and we decide to call. So my first thought there is I don't think I ever really 4-bet jacks. I know there is argument for doing so. Some people do. Some people say, oh, you should always be getting jacks in at the micros, but just from my own experiences, generally speaking, I tend to find that if ever I were to 4-bet or call a 4-bet with jacks, 90% of the time I'm dominated, you know. So I generally prefer to take the more conservative approach with jacks. and play them more like a kind of 10s or 9s kind of hand. But the great thing about jacks is that you do dominate hands like 10s and 9s. Is kind of what I'm gonna get to in a minute with this this hand. So you see a flop, 8-6 deuce is what it is, and we've got an overpair. Pretty reasonable shout that we're ahead. Obviously we're behind aces, kings, and queens. Maybe if our opponent 3-bet a hand like pocket 8s, which they're going to do occasionally, but not that often. But aside from that, we're not too worried about this flop. So I go for the check raise, and my opponent calls. So I've given my opponent this range to kind of start the hand, which is just a generic range that it comes kind of pre-built into Equilab. And so I've gone, right, well, let's just use that as a base, and then we can tinker with it a little bit here and there as we want to, kind of thing. So as a base, this is what Equilab has given us for this opponent 3-betting range. However, this may not necessarily always be entirely accurate. Let's just see if we have any stats on the villain. Don't have much. They seem to be a bit on the tight side, I guess, after 20 hands, but we can't really read anything into that. So basically, I would extend this out a little bit further. But I think my opponent's probably going to be 3-betting hands like ace 9 suited, ace 5 suited, maybe even ace 4 suited, ace 10 off, king queen, maybe not king queen off. People seem to be a bit more passive with that hand. Certainly king jack suited, maybe on occasion some of these slightly weaker king x, but we'll stick on the tighter side for now. I don't think people 3-bet 7s often enough. We'll keep 8s in there for the sake of it, and then obviously everything else is pretty standard. So just against this, purely this range right here that we started with, on the flop we've got a lot of equity against this range. We've got 63% equity. So I like the idea of going in for a check raise here, where we're, you know, we've got a very strong hand, but also our opponent can potentially pick up a lot of stuff on the turn. You know, if an ace or king or queen comes on the turn and we've just, you know, check called, it's an absolute disaster, you know. So all of those ace king, ace queen, king queen kind of hands, we just want to straight away. Thank you, Poison. Thank you for calling me your favorite streamer. That's very well appreciated. Nice one, buddy. Anyway, as I was saying, so yeah, on the turn, if you know ace king or queen comes, it's disaster. Ace king, ace queen, king queen, even, you know, ace jack, ace 10, king jack. If maybe they could even have king 10 suited, which I haven't even included in this range. A bunch of crap like that that is just going to be a pain in the ass for us, basically. So I like the idea of coming in for the check raise now, on the low board, where our opponent can have a lot of overcards that can cause us a problem. They can have 9s and 10s, which we are dominating and getting value from quite easily. And then they can also have all of the diamond draws as well. They can have ace x of diamonds, king queen, king jack of diamonds, which is very important because we don't block diamond draws. And then they can also have like even queen jack, jack 10 of diamonds. It's very important here that we're not blocking jack x of diamonds, because they can have all those hands. I've not included them here because we're going to do it a little on the tighter side. But yeah, generally speaking, we're not too worried. Not too worried here. So I like the check raise on the flop. It's on the turn where I'm not entirely sure how well I've played the hand, let's say. So I'll bring it up here just to make it a bit more visual. So obviously I've check raised on the flop. the standard approach here would obviously be to bet the turn as well, possibly even jam the turn. However, maybe it was because I was streaming while I was playing, but I didn't want to take that approach. I thought that approach was too linear, too obvious, and I thought I'm just letting my opponent play perfectly. That when it comes to me c-betting the turn, they can continue with all their strong hands, they can continue with all their strong diamonds, and that's it. You know, they're just going to fold out everything else. However, if they had a hand like, I don't know, ace queen with the ace of diamonds, they might call flop and then they're just going to fold turn straight off. And you know, various hands like that. So I was thinking to myself in game, you know, what can I do different to the norm here? I'm not saying what I do here is right at all. I'd love to see like a GTO solver sim on this, and once I get enough subs and stuff like that for Twitch to pay me out $100, then I'll be getting the GTO Plus. But yeah, so I decided to go for a check with the intent of check jamming. Now my thinking here is, when have you ever seen anyone with an overpair here after check raising the flop, check the turn? Not very often, right? Usually if someone check raises on a flop like this and then get a call and then checks the turn, they were just trying something screwy. They were trying, you know, they were just trying to be clever on the flop, and trying to get you off a hand, and then they've just given up on the turn. And that's exactly what I was hoping my opponent would think of me in this scenario. I was thinking, you know, hopefully they just think that I've just given up the hand now. I tried my check raise on the flop, it didn't work, and now I'm giving up. So they come in for a bet, and it's quite a big bet. And here's the problem: is this size bet is like a I'm rarely ever folding kind of bet, in my opinion, because he puts so much into the pot. The pot's already quite big, and he's not got hardly anything left behind, so he's kind of pricing himself in. If this was like half pot or lower, then I think I like what I do next more. If he bet like 25 bigs here, so he'd be leaving himself with, what, 65, then I think what I do next would be a lot better. Which is go for the check jam. So my thinking here was, first of all, if he had a hand like ace king, ace queen with the ace of diamonds or the king of diamonds that he decided to c-bet and float on the flop, he's going to want to try and get me out of the pot now. If my perceived weak range from checking the turn is, you know, a bunch of crap that's just missed now, he can get me off the hand, you know, fairly easily. And then the other thing as well is, you know, hands like 10s and 9s, which are obviously never folding here, which I'm going to get value from. And then also ace, you know, ace king, ace queen, queen jack, queen, sorry, queen jack, king jack, possibly queen jack, king queen, all those overcards that have the flush draw here. All of those hands with diamonds in them. Equally, we don't want to give a free card to and make our lives difficult if a diamond hits the river, but we can get value from now whilst we have a slight advantage in the hand, you know. I don't think my idea to check raise flop and then check raise turn as well is a terrible one. I just think maybe it was perhaps not the best time to do it, just purely given the size that our opponent has put in here. I think we might have been better off in this particular scenario taking the passive approach ourselves, just check calling the turn. That is if we choose to check, just to be clear. If we choose to check the turn, I think we'd be better off check calling against this size. However, if he bet smaller size, like a 25 big blind, something like that, then I think we can be a bit more aggressive and make his life a lot more difficult. But here, I think the stack to pot ratio that he's got left is just too small for me to ever make him fold. Which is good if he does have a hand like 10s or 9s or a flush draw or something like that, but it's bad when they got the kings. So I mean, even like potentially, say for example, he bets 40 there and I just call and I've got 80 left, then the pot would be what, 140 on the river. Yeah, I'm still not really getting anything to fold on the river either, am I? I was thinking maybe I could have check called and then, you know, jam the river, but I think the check raise on the flop is what makes this hand a little bit trickier to play on further streets, because we make the stack to pot ratio kind of awkward. So in hindsight, I think, yeah. And in hindsight, I think maybe if I'm going to go for a check raise on the flop, maybe I should go for a slightly bigger one and narrow their range a lot more. So get rid of all those ace X with 1 diamond and stuff like that, and really hone in on their range. And then make the turn a much more comfortable spot to jam. You know, if we make this, you know, super big here, if we make this like 30, maybe not 35, maybe 30, 31, something like that, then I think turn becomes a much easier jam. Because then we'd have what would be, but 75-ish, 76, 77. Yeah, about 77. And then if you take another 7 away from there, you know, you'd be having to call 83 when the pot is 70, 77. It's a bit closer, rather than me jamming here and he's got to call like 1.5 times his stack when the pot was originally. Sorry, you'd have to call 1.5 times what the pot was when the hand started on this street. So yeah, but anyway, the principle I'm kind of getting at here is the fact that I was just not afraid to try something different here. I think the execution wasn't the best. Again, I prefer this move if he'd bet smaller on the turn. But I do quite like the idea, and I like the thinking that I had there. God, it's really fucking dark in here. I know my face is lit up because like there's light coming in, and I've got the light of the screen, but all around me I just see darkness. Yeah, so what we can say here, right? So we started with this range that we think they can have when we're at the flop stage when we check raise them. So what are they going to call with? Well, if we take all these out against our check raise, and let's change them to say he's only ever calling hands that have the ace of diamonds in. And then likewise, we can say the same for all of these. You can say he's not going to continue with any of these unless they are ace X of diamonds. Same with king jack and king queen as well. So he's only calling with diamonds. And then we come to this turn. And what's our equity look like now? So yeah, so we got just over 50% equity against this range that has top set of 8s in it, which again may not necessarily always be the case. Pocket jacks, I mean there should only be one combo of jacks, so let's just get that in there, which is be jack of hearts and yeah. I don't know if Equilab does that automatically for you, but there we are. Obviously, you can have aces, kings, and queens. We know now that he did have pocket kings. But you could also have all of these random diamond flush draws that also have overcards. And then these hands that just have the one diamond in them as well. So I think when we've got 52% equity on the turn, I think that is a nice spot to put our opponent on under some serious pressure, you know? Because if we can get any of these hands to fold on the turn, then we are, yeah, we're doing a lot. I don't know what the phrase is. I know there is a phrase for this. We're getting them to sacrifice equity. That's what I was trying to say. So anytime we get ace 4, ace 5 suited to fold, neither of which I think are going to fold here because obviously they have they both got gut shot as well. But let's say we get ace 9 of diamonds to fold here, or even ace king or ace queen with one diamond. You know, I think we are in that scenario. We push our equity higher than this by making those hands fold. I think, well, like I said before, I think the problem I've got is that I've made my move when my opponent has bet too big, so it makes it really hard to get them to fold anything ever. But yeah, and I mean when they call, let's say they never call any of these hands. So they're only calling with pocket 9s and 10s, which they could absolutely call with aces through kings, and then all of these hands with diamonds. Let's say they fold. Oh, let's just keep ace 9 of diamonds in there, actually. Why not? And 44% is, when we get called, we still have 44% equity, which I think is pretty decent, to be honest. I think if we take that out, let's take out king jack suited as well. Let's take out both the king x, and our equity goes down. Okay, so we actually want them to have more flush draws in their range here. But let's just assume for a sec. Let's assume for a sec that they're calling with all these flush draws. Then our equity goes up a little bit. Let's push it even further, and let's include, let's say they 3-bet all of these hands as well. So they're not necessarily going to do, I'm just doing it purely for exercise purposes. Our equity goes up even more. So basically the more flush draws our opponent can have when they call us on the turn when we jam, the higher our equity, but it's all there or thereabouts, 40 to 50%. You know, it's never going to be a million miles off that. So yeah, I think it's not the worst played hand in the world, not the best. Certainly interesting though. This one I'm just going to show for Bants. It's quite obvious that I've gone a little crazy here, but Poison, you'll probably remember this hand from Sunday. So I raise up with the ace king suited. We get 3 callers. I decided to go for the check. This board is really bad for our range. It's really good for all of our opponents. So what we don't want to do here is c-bet and then face a raise, and then, you know, start having to put money in a spot where we're going to be behind most of the time. So I decided to check with the intention of check calling versus, you know, pretty much any bet. But it checks around. On the turn, our situation doesn't improve at all. I go for the same kind of approach of, okay, well, I'm happy to call one big blind, and then pot size, you know, there's already a little bit more than that in the pot anyway. 28%. I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, if we just have a look at Equilab a sec. Let's clear all this. Sorry guys, I'm just going to... It's a little bit warming here. So let's go... Put it up. This is easier. Where's Equilab gone there? Okay. So I'm in mid position 2 with ace king of clubs. We've got the 6, 9 and 8 there, and we've got the 4 of hearts on the turn. Okay, so then we've got who we got with us as well. We've got the cut off, button and big blind. So if we say okay, see if I can find if there's any charts in here that we can use to these are all opening or whatever like that, but we can reasonably assume that the hands that they're going to be calling with are going to be small pocket pairs, suited connectors, suited gappers like that, maybe some offsuit broadways like that, maybe some maybe Jack 10 suited, a couple of suited things like that, and maybe some weaker suited aces. Let's go for those as well. Okay, this is just a random range that I've put in here, and we can say that button's probably got the same range. Big blind, it's probably even got a wider range than that, but we'll keep it the same just for the sakes. And we'll say that all of the like pocket 10s through aces are going to raise. You know, big blind can even have some of these hands in there as well. I've seen people call with all these hands. Let's just make the big blind range a bit wider. So take a sec. So here we've actually got a decent amount of equity, like with our exact hand against these massive ranges, but if you look at the hand overall, we only have 31% in terms of chances to win the hand. If you combine all of our opponents together, they've got somewhere in the region of about 69%. So it's 69% of the time we're behind against one of these opponents. That's the way I'm looking at it. It might be the wrong way to look at it, but any which way, generally speaking, that you look at it, we're not doing great. And I've been pretty liberal with these ranges here, and especially on the turn when you get where's it gone? And especially on the turn when we've got like 28% here, and we've got one person raising here and another person raising there. Well, you can narrow their ranges down a touch, to say we've got even less equity. So let's get rid of button, I think it was. Right, let's just clear the button. So let's say what hands is our friend on the sorry, what hands is our friend on the big blind going to be raising here? Well, they're not going to raise any of this trash because it doesn't connect with the board at all. They might raise any of these with clubs, potentially. They can't have any ace-x of clubs, and I don't think they're going to raise any of these, so we can pretty much take those out. But they can't have king 9 or queen 9 of clubs. In fact, they can't have king 10 or king jack of clubs either, because we blocked that. So we can say they've got those hands. 10 9 10 8 they might raise as a kind of semi bluff if they've got a gut shot and a pair. 9s and 8s and 6s, 7s with the open ender they might get a little freaky with. Pocket 5s probably not. 3s and 2s ain't gonna be in there. 6-4 would certainly raise. 5-4 I don't think would. Probably not 6-5 either. 7-5 obviously with the straight would absolutely raise. 9-7 top pair straight draw. 8-7 maybe with the middle pair, 8-6 two pair. Yeah, okay. So against a range like this, and let's just take cut out for a sec, cut off out for a sec. So against that range, we're miles behind, which is obviously really fucking bad for us. So we need 28% equity to call against that, and 20% equity is exactly what we have. So I'm quite happy to call there on the turn. And if I remember rightly, I think the cut off folds anyway. So the river comes a queen, and our opponent, I remember this distinctly, snap checked over to us. So I was thinking, well, spoiler alert there. I was thinking, well, what hands are they going to snap check? Or more to the point, I was saying, what hands aren't going to snap check? What hands are going to automatically go for value every single time here? And those hands are going to be all the sets. So we can take out all the sets, because all the sets are going to go for value here straight away, in my opinion. Actually, no, let's keep them in for a sec. Let's just keep them in. Let's say that they check. Jack 10 absolutely would be going for value here, because obviously Jack 10 has the nuts now. They're not going to want to see me check behind my missed flush draws or anything like that. So Jack 10 is just going to keep going. Queen Jack and Queen 10 suited, perfect spot for those to check, because they've now got top pair, they've got plenty of showdown value, they can easily check call, but it's going to be a struggle for them if they see a check, if they see bet and then they get raised. Um, 10-9, 10-8, I think would still see bet here. Because their hands don't have the best showdown value in the world, they might find it tough to call against a really big bet, so they can make their lives easier by c-betting, let's say 50% of the pot, and they could just fold against the raise. A lot of worse hands are going to fold, and if they get called, then maybe sometimes they got the best hand, maybe sometimes they don't, kind of 50-50. So I think they'd be fine there. 7-5 suited, I think, would still see bet the river, because they're now only beaten really by one kind of straight, technically two straights, but realistically only one. We take that out. Pocket sevens may see bet. I don't think they would. I think pocket sevens probably just give up now, thinking that a 10 or an 8 or 9 Jack 10 or a queen is going to call them. I don't think they will see bet. Same with 8-7. And yeah, the sets and two pairs I think would all bet some amount. Oh, sorry, I think would potentially check by some degree. I'll keep sevens in there in that case. I've completely misread that. But I think a lot of these hands are going to check the river, basically. Some of the miss draws that have some showdown equity. Yeah, I do think 10-9 and 10-8 would see bet. But I'll tell you what, we'll come to that in a sec. Let's take these hands. So we're still quite far behind against this range. That checks river. So let's weaken their range. Let's say that most people at the micro stakes are not really thinking, they just see paint and they shove all in. Let's take out their sets. And for now, let's just take out their sets. Okay. So we do have somehow on the turn showdown equity. against these hands that would be playing on the river. I have just balls this up entirely because I haven't even put the. We shouldn't even be looking at this really anymore. This is redundant. It's this that is what's important here. Essentially, on the river, let's just get to the meat and potatoes of this. Essentially, on the river, I decided to jam for almost 3x pot because I'm a fucking savage, and that's just what I decided to do. And my reasoning was that of these hands that call, of these hands that our opponent can have on the river, let's just add them all back in for the sake of it, that are going to raise on the turn. Realistically, how many nutted hands are there? Well, Jack 10, but they're always betting Jack 10, so we can take Jack 10 out. They're going to bet 9s, 8s, 6s, and 4s most of the time. So I think we can take them out. And then of what's left, what's realistically calling 3x pot on the river? 9, 8. In fact, let's take hands out. So how many combos we got here? So we got 40 hands that we expect them to have. 40 combos. And then let's say they fold 10-9, they fold 10-8, fold 9-7, but obviously folding 7-6, fold pocket 7s. Okay, that leaves us with 18 hands that they could potentially be calling. In fact, they're going to fold 8-7 as well, so we're left with 14 combos of hands that is fairly likely that they could have. Now if we take our little metric here, 14 divided by 40, divided by 40, right, about 35%. So they're going to call with about 35% of hands, basically, is what that's telling us. Of the hands that we expect them to check with on the river and then call, which is a couple of 2 pairs, and then maybe Queen Jack and Queen 10 some of the time. We don't really expect them to have like obviously Ace Queen suited or King Queen suited that often. Certainly not of clubs is what we're going with here. What we expect to, you know, check raise to pot size on the turn would be clubs hands, and obviously we block those, so we're not really worried about them. But they're calling with, say, 35% of hands, but we're giving them pot odds of 40%. So we are actually pricing them out of a call here, in a sense. Because if we want them to only call with 35% of the hands, well, we need to make it unattractive. And anyway, our opponent tanks for fucking ages, and of course they call with the Queen 10. He tanked for about a minute. It was quite painful on the stream. So I'm not saying to do this, of course. This is just me being a wild, average motherfucker on the river that just can't accept that I've lost a hand and decides to just go, right, okay, show me your moneymaker. But yeah, I mean, in a way I quite like it because, alright, on this occasion my opponent did have a queen. In the same sense, they could have had a, you know, 9-8 or something like that. But a lot of the time they're just gonna have any one of these hands as well. You take out the hands that they're calling with, and is that it? Yeah, they can have any one of these hands which are automatically folding as well. They're folding with like 65% of their hands when we put them under this kind of pressure. I don't know. I'm not suggesting that people use it as a strategy, but I quite enjoyed it. I quite liked it. Thought it was fun. So anyway, yeah. I mean, the only other hand we played was a bit of a cooler. You know, both had ace X, ace hits flop, ace hits the turn. You know, kind of thing. Nothing really to say about those hands. Obviously, this was the session that we played afterwards, or not afterwards, a day later. But went a lot better. A couple of all-ins pre-flop. Did us fine. I think I missed out on some value in this hand. Bring that up. We raised, get called. C-bet small, which I'm going to do a lot of the time with a lot of hands. Opponent decides to min raise, which is a bit weird. I didn't really quite know what to make of it. I thought it could just have some random like queen 10 or something like that with a gut shot, not much else. But I wanted to keep it in the hand, so I decided to check. Obviously, we hit the effective nuts on the turn, so I was going, okay, well, I can quite happily check over to my opponent now. I'm not worried about them checking back as such. They come in for a pretty big bet, and with a bet of this size and with a board this dry, I thought to myself, well, if I raise here and they've got 10-9 something like that, then they're just going to fold. If I raise here and they've got a weak jack, or even a strong jack, then they may may stick around. But I was expecting pretty much any jack to also c-bet river, which I could check jam against quite easily. So I just flatted. River comes king. I'm thinking here, okay, well, if he's got 10-9 or queen 10, something like that, that's missed, he's going to have to jam now. Or if he's got some kind of jack, I'd still expect him to bet some of the time. However, he does just check it back, jack 10. So I think where I went wrong here, I think I should have check raised the turn. As much as I said, like, I'm not worried about a river card or anything like that. I do feel like even like a min check raise. So if I check raise to 28 bigs, and then that would leave me with 62 bigs. It would make the pot, if they call, which I would assume they would with jack 10. It would make the pot probably have 76-ish, which means that a shove on the river becomes very easy because we're then not shoving anywhere near pot size. We're actually quite well below it. I think it would be a good idea to check raise on this turn, but like I said, just min check raise, check min raise even. Because 10-9 suit, or even 10-9 offsuit, it doesn't matter at this stage because you can't make a flush. But I think all the 10-9s are going to call because they're going to be like, okay, well, I haven't got to call much to try and hit my draw. Jack X is all going to call, and anything that anything that's trash is going to let it go now, or would just get back on the river anyway. So the idea of going, check call and then check raise on the river doesn't really work. The only way that would work is if you check called here and then on the river you rip it in. But then the problem with ripping it in on the river is you lose out on a lot of value from those hands that will call your check raise on the turn, like a weak jack or 10-9 or even queen 10. Yeah, because they would just fold on this river, obviously. So you'd miss out on like that 14 big blinds that they would have called on the turn. And then if they're going to call you on the turn against check raise and then call a jam on the river with something, like say a queen jack or whatever like that, then it doesn't matter as such what you do. If you jam on the river here, then they're going to call regardless. And if you jam or if you raise on the turn and then jam river, they're going to call regardless as well. So it doesn't really affect the kind of the river decision as such. It just means that the hands that are either going to check back or fold on the river, you make more money from earlier in the hand. And then if they're folding river, they're always folding river, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, I think having gone for the check call on the turn, I think I screwed myself, and then I screwed myself even worse by checking on the river. Because I think I should have just at this stage gone, okay, let's just try and get value from a jack, or even a king if a king was doing something screwy. But that aside, there wasn't really a lot that happened in that session. Okay, so what I'm going to do very quickly is I am going to load up PokerStars and play for a little bit. And we're going to change the title of the stream just because subtly take my password off screen and subtly take my pin off screen. What the fuck is this? Welcome to the new improved Aurora table. Oh, no. No. Legacy table's been removed and players will no longer have the ability. Oh, fucking hell. Why have they done this? Why would they do this? I don't care about your fancy fucking graphics. All it does is it makes the client run slower. And it makes me not able to use Jivaro as a HUD. Let me just test this a sec. Okay, so it seems that Jivaro has fixed it now. God, I really don't like that. I don't like how that looks at all. Layouts. Hang on, they've taken the layouts bit back to the way it used to be. What's the point in that? Yeah, they like how small these cards are. Like I can't see what's going on. How small is that? No good for me, man. Is there like a big card function? No, there's not. And now, frustratingly as well, the whenever I've got this open, it's hidden behind the Jivaro HUD as well. Oh, this is awful. It's fine. We'll make it work. Right, so what am I doing? Okay. We're just going to title this the chillest poker stream in the world because it is going to be super chill from this point onwards. And we're not going to worry about nothing. Got the cards in front of us. I'm going to listen to some music. Not that music. That music. King Queen. Let's go with the King Queen. See if we can make this fit. Oh, look at that. Look how beautiful that is. How beautifully that fits almost. It's not brilliant, but it'll do. King Queen will do as well. Not King Queen, Ace Queen either. I can't see the fucking cards, man. Out of curiosity. No, it doesn't matter. I did wonder if I turn the Jivaro HUD off, like, does it make a difference? And it doesn't. Still can't see anything. Ace 9 suited, we can defend. Probably not going to defend against this geezer though. Oh god, this is gonna make tagging people a nightmare, isn't it? Yeah, let's go for a 3-bet against this guy. 100% fold 3-bet over 100 hands is a pretty good indicator that they're pretty tight. They're also not opening that much. And they didn't fold this time, so I'm going to narrow their range right down and say that they are going to be pretty strong. I'm not even that happy to see the ace because a lot of the time we're going to be dominated. I am going to put a bet in here though, so I can get value from kings, queens, jacks. And I think I'm going to check the river. Again, he could still have a hand like ace-jack here a lot of the time. Or he could just have top set. There you go. Or at least we saved ourselves some money in that hand. That's the thing, when you've got someone who folds 100% the 3-bet, and then they raise from under the gun and call you 3-bet, you've got to assume they've got something. Right, let's try out PokerStars' wanky little... That is awful. Why would you have the same things above there? I just want to see the extra ones. How do I turn this off? This is awful. What twat had this idea in PokerStars? Honestly. Get off my screen. I'm running out of time every time on this table because I'm faffing about with the throwables. Okay, never gonna use the throwables on this this site then. Fours would be a little bit of a loose open from here, but I might do it. Yeah, I'll do it. It's not. I don't think it's ever terrible opening small pocket pairs from here. They can be a bit tricky to play if you get post flop with them out of position and you don't hit your set. It's not a bad flop to see. See a donk bet by a friend here. Doesn't mean a lot. It's a really weird donk bet. Okay, fair enough. Figured a lot of the time that donk bet is going to be some sort of draw like a 10-9 or diamonds, or maybe even like ace deuce of diamonds we can get value from. Apparently not. Oh, tell you what, give me a sec. I need to turn this light on behind me because I can't see a thing in here now. Right. Back to my relaxation music. I might go for a check call here, you know. Oh wow, he just snap checks it back. Okay. Let's go for a little stabberoo. And then if he calls, like, we'll probably just give up the river. Might not though. Might try to do some things. Yeah, I'm gonna stab again. Purely because it's a spade and I block spades. What? What the fuck? My reasoning was about to be because it's more likely that he calls on turn with diamonds when we block spades. And obviously when the diamonds miss, then we're quite happy to take a stab. And he called with the king high anyway, so there you go, shows what I know. How far are we off a chest? Oh wow. Can't wait for that. Chest that never opens properly on the PC. So. I don't know if anyone else has ever had that. Like, I find that the chests when I try to open the chest on my PC, it doesn't work. I have to go onto my phone. Specifically, I have to go onto my phone app, turn off the Wi-Fi, so I'm using my network data, and then I can open then I can open a bloody chest. I can get my 25 cents or whatever the fuck it is. Yeah, we're obviously calling here. It's such a small small jam, and he's gonna have all kinds of crap. Oh, we're running it twice, are we? Okay. Well, there's your first one. See if you can get the second one. I'll get the second one. Fair play. Or am I the heart? Nice. Set up. We raise pre here and we check the flop because we want to try and keep the pot relatively small because our hand isn't great. I am going to put a little bet out now. Kind of for protection, kind of for value. And, well, this is why I didn't c-bet the flop, because this is just monstrous. So, I'm just going to fold it. Just going to fold it out on the turn. We're going to call with the pocket eights. There's not a lot of hands that I will call in the small blind with, but I think pocket eights is a good one. Because even if we get squeezed by the big blind, our opponent the here calls, we can still quite comfortably call again. Here we go. If we get one fold, then it's a win. If we get two folds, then we are laughing because the board is the nuts here. There you go. He thought about folding there as well. Like, I think we probably both paid more in rake than yeah, I lost like 5 cents in rake there. It was worth a go though. It was worth a go. There you go. There's an education for you guys. If you ever face a jam on a river like that where there's nothing going on, don't call, because even though you won't lose the hand, you'll actually lose more money by calling because of the rake. What the fuck is this? So he 3-bets 3% of the time, 100% folds the 3-bet over 120 hands, and now he just 4-bet jams, snaps it in. Like, what do you think he's got? What do you think he's got? I'm going to call him quite aggressive. I'm going to call this pocket aces. I'm going to call this 3-bet. I made one of these tables bigger than the other. I think I have. That's close enough. Ooh, this is really bad for our range, this board. So I might go for the check jam, actually. I mean, that's not the best. It's not the worst card in the world, actually. If he's got king queen or ace queen, something like that, we're going to get value quite a lot here. Okay. Yeah, I think when that queen comes on the turn, which is good for our range, but also decent for our opponent's range, we have to go for it. And yeah. I try not to do much cold calling here, but when I've got two players in and then the blinds behind that are going to call a lot of time with a hand that can have some very high implied odds, I quite like a call there. It's not the best flop for us. 6 would give us the nuts. We do a backdoor diamond, so I'll call 1 and then yeah, I'll give it up on this turn now. Worth a go. Let's open our chest actually. Let's see if PokeStars have fixed chests so they actually open now. Here's the exciting part. Opening my blue chest. Oh, they've actually fixed it. It actually opened. Well, I never. Well, isn't that just dandy? Hmm. I'm gonna go for a check here. My issue is if I bet again and I get raised, I'm gonna have a real hard time calling, and I can never call the river even if I did call the turn. So I think I prefer keeping his range a bit wider, going for the check call, and then we can evaluate on the river. The club is a really bad card. I mean, the clubs is kind of the only thing I was really worried about, apart from maybe some freaky deaky 2 pairs. So that's pretty strong. Problem is, there's a lot of hands that you can have that beat me without being a flush. You can have 6s, 7s, maybe even 5s. You can have 8, 9, 7, 6, 7, 5, Ace, Jack, clubs. Yeah, I think there's just too many hands that beat me there. And as we know at the micros, people don't bluff often enough. Kind of a dicey board though, that I think. At least on the turn. Like, if the turn is like an offsuit deuce or something like that, then I'd probably just c-bet again. But the 5 on the turn, I think, gave a lot of help to a lot of hands. Be interested to see a sim on a hand like that when you're out of position with King Jack on a board that's like Jack 7 6, with two cards to a flush. Whether you should be c-betting or like check calling or check raising, something like that. Yeah, 8-8 is a shout poison. Don't get me wrong, like I do expect some of the time for him to be full of shit there. With you could even have a hand like Jack 9 there would make some sort of sense. Yeah, let's just go for a blanket c-bet here and hope to make our opponent fold. And when we don't, then we'll pretty much give up. Oh, there you go then. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not sure with that. Not sure with that hand, that King Jack hand. But I never feel like secure. You know what I mean? I never feel secure enough to go for a c-bet there, to go for a check call or a check raise. And I'm talking any street. There's not one single street there that I feel like, yeah, happy with this. Know exactly what I'm going to do if this happens or whatever. Which means that I should study it more, really. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty chill right now. I've not had the most chill day in work, and this is just a nice, like, just relax and just play some cards, you know what I mean? Loads of checking. Is that in terms of the King Jack hand, Alex? You're the perfect person to have come in at this time. I don't know if you saw the hand, but thank you. But yeah, like King Jack on a board that's like it was, like out of position, where it's, you know, Jack 6-8. Oh, sorry, Jack 6-7 or Jack 7-6, whatever. Yeah, I was a bit kind of like, do I c-bet the flop and then check turn? Do I just check the flop? Do I c-bet flop, c-bet turn, check river? Like, but as you're saying, loads of checking. Like, I'm guessing c-bet flop, check from there, or just check the whole way down. Be the thing. I'm gonna c-bet again here. The ace is really good for my range, and he could have just called with a random 8 that he's now going to give up on the flop. Also, we could hit the 10. Yeah, he's never folding on the river now, I don't think so. Well, he hit the ace himself. There you go. And there you go. Like, if he's calling with an ace there on the flop, just ace high with no draw, then he's definitely calling with an 8 or like a small pocket pair or something like that. We can get to fold on the turn. Don't think that's correct to say. Okay. Okay. I mean, this ball is really bad for my range. So I might go for a little check raise and then jam turn. Whoa, that's a big bet. I wasn't expecting that. In which case I'll go for a check call then, I guess. That's a bad turn. What the fuck? Okay. Okay, I guess he's got it. I guess he's got something. Like, I wasn't expecting, I was expecting like, you know, a half pot bet, something like that. I wasn't expecting like almost full pot and then an over bet jam on the turn. So I'm guessing he had some kind of overpair, like a pocket tens, maybe pocket jacks, something that's quite vulnerable, doesn't want to let me see any free cards. What do you reckon, guys? What are we putting him on? Jacks? I'm calling it jacks. I'm putting him on jacks. Don't shout at me for this 3-bet here, guys. I'm just trying to... I was trying to isolate basically against a weak opponent, but clearly not too good at that. Seems like all semblance of all semblance of my strategy goes out the window as soon as I turn the camera on. God, go away. I fucking hate this button. Going straight in with the 4-bet. I was watching a thing with Jonathan Little the other day, and he was, I won't go into it, but he was giving a very good explanation as to why ace king, suited or not, you should basically always be happy to get it in pre-flop with. As I said, I won't go into it as such, but it was, yeah, he was just basically saying like it's ridiculous how wide people 3-bet, how wide people are willing to like call and stuff like that. He was like, a lot of the time they'll just stick around with ace queen or pocket queens or pocket jacks, against which you've got like massive equity. I'm gonna raise here. I'm gonna try and isolate against at least one of these guys. Or take it down. I'm happy to take it down. This what is this c-bet? Fucking get out of my pot. Yeah, that's right. Get out of my pot. Usually super strong without with king jack without king of clubs. I try not to inflate. So check call, check call, check call. Run out was bad. When the flush comes in, NL5, you run out of bluffs. Okay, good. That makes me feel a lot. Well, two things, Alex. Your explanation there, first of all, anyone watching this in real time or later on YouTube, take note of what Alex has written in the chat on the side here. Because it's a spot that I struggle with like a lot, so that's really good informative explanation there. But yeah, it makes me feel a bit better about the way I played the hand. Obviously, I went, if perfect line is check call, check call, check call, and I went c-bet, then check call, check fold. I'm not too upset. Well, you said perfect line would be check call, check call, check fold, but same difference, you know what I mean. So basically, like, could have been better, but not terrible, is what I'm going to take from that, and I'm happy with could have been better, not terrible. I actually really enjoyed my my little check raise a minute ago. Yeah, it's coming on the screen now, actually. With his fucking min bet check raise, and I'm sorry, with his min bet c bet or his min c bet, and I'm just like, nah, get out of my pot. Get the fuck out of here with that weak sauce. Yep, bye bye. Going for a wide-ish open here. It's mainly because the two guys are like so tight, is what I was going for there. Obviously, if they raise them out, but there's two extremely tight players, so I thought, well, let's see if I can get away with it, and why not? Eh? Why not? Yeah, I think any offsuit Broadways are defending the big blind, right? So one thing I remember from coaching with Alex the other week was I'm maybe not defending big blind quite enough. So I have been working on that. And one of the ways of working on that has been to include offsuited Broadways more often, basically. If I had 9-7 suited, I'd go for it here, but 9-6 I'm not entirely happy with. Also, it's worth mentioning, guys, since the training the other week, I'll just switch over just a second here from the live play. So since the training with Alex here, you'll notice whilst we've been through the green line and yellow line stuff recently, on the last stream I explained there's been a bunch of coolers and some stuff. Obviously some I've made some bad decisions here and there, but generally speaking, a lot of this downwards trend has been due to some coolers and me taking maybe a little bit too much of an aggressive approach in certain spots. However, I am really fucking proud of how my red line is currently developing. Yeah, being up 2 buy-ins because of red line only is great. Like the hands where I've had like coolers and hands like this one here, where my green line and my yellow line split off because I got it in with a, what was it? Got it in with a nut or second nut flush against just like a pair on a paired board, and they hit their boat. But I think what the important thing is to note here is that if my red line wasn't so good right now, anyway, if my red line was declining, as it was before, then instead of my green line being almost break even, it would be like all the way down here. It'd be off the screen. So yeah, just wanted to kind of mention that recently, that even though like I'm still making mistakes with trying to employ more check raising and shit like that, even though I'm still making mistakes with it, I can see the benefits already in that my red line is starting to just do that slowly but surely. I mean, I guess I'll throw in a little bet. Why not, eh? Sometimes he folds, yeah. Sometimes you go with the jack. Oh. Just lean back and feel your ass grow. It's the way to do it. Oh, this new table nonsense, new table graphics, I'm not a fan of. If this was a single opponent, I'd maybe fold, but I think against multiple opponents, I've got enough implied odds to potentially go for a cheeky nut flush. I'd love it if they checked around now and the river's like, or the turn's like a deuce of clubs. Against multiple opponents, I am just gonna flat. Don't see much benefit to raising here. 8 is an interesting card. We'll see what our friend does here. We'll see what they do. Half pot again. Again, I think we've got enough implied odds, especially if this guy calls behind, that if we hit like a club or an 8, or sometimes even an ace might be good enough. I think we can call again. I'm not thrilled about this, but I take it back. I'm thrilled about this. I mean, now the question is, do we just jam or do we check? I think we just jam, right? I think they're going to be folding too often. Checking back too often. I think we just jam and hope to get called by like a set or 2 pair. Okay. With how quick they snap folded, I don't think they were ever putting any more money in the pot there, even if I checked to them. Maybe I could have done something sneaky, like bet a quarter of pot or something. Okay. That jam on the river actually is something that I've seen Ben CB do before. In one of his like little training webinar things, he's explaining how like just donk jamming on the river like that, it looks super fishy, but it's actually can be quite effective because it looks so fishy. I'm gonna put a little bit of money in here just because I want to get a little bit of protection from his like random fucking king jack of diamonds or something like that. I had a stutter there for a second. King jack of diamonds. I'm gonna do the same again. I think against flush draws. Stuff like that. Snap checks the river. Okay, I'll snap check behind. Ace 10. Fair enough. I maybe could have bet smaller on the turn there. I do like my double barrel. But I think I'm getting value from a 7 a lot. I'm getting value from flush draws and getting protection against some other stuff. But I think I bet too big on the turn. I think he was always going to call turn with an ace, obviously. But maybe I could have got away with betting smaller and then not having to give up so much equity. Or give up so much money, really. Yeah, come on. 3 bet or fold. Okay, so we got one player out. What of our... Oh, you can't read the fucking notes, PokerStars. What are you doing, man? I'm gonna check it, and the reason why I'm gonna check it is I think when he raises under the gun calls, most of the hands that he's gonna have, if he does have an ace in them, are gonna be ace king, ace queen, which are dominating us. Sorry. So, in terms of on the flop, at least, I just want to keep it a little bit smaller. And now I think we can look to get value from pocket kings, queens, jacks. And yeah, I'll do the same again on the turn here. Oh, for fuck's sake. This is why I don't go for thin value on the river, guys. All I've heard for the last fucking 3 years is, oh, if you're at the micro stakes, you need to go thin for value on the river. And then I go thin for value. I get faced with a check raise on the river, and I'm just like, fuck. What do I do? The fuck do I do? I think I've got to fold. Like, I mean, I blocked enough flush draw on the turn, which would be a fairly decent hand to do this with. I'm behind ace 10, ace king, ace queen. As I said, I'm obviously behind pocket tens. Fucking, it sucks, like, but I think I need to fold it. Yeah. I mean, this is good for our range. Obviously, it's pretty decent for our exact hand as well. How's that? There we go. Yeah, right as I was in the middle of a sentence as well. So a big problem with my audio interface at the minute. It keeps bloody cutting out on me randomly. Which is really bloody annoying. But anyway, yeah, a couple of hands with ace jack there that could have gone a lot better, eh? One of those hands ace jack that I'm just never quite, I feel like it's so easy to overplay and also so easy to underplay at the same time. What the fuck is it? What is this? Why is everyone so aggressive tonight? Massive 3-bet. We got 4-bet by here. Like, I'm actually going to call here because we've got position and we've got like strong implied odds. Like that at all. Oh, I've really fucked myself here now, haven't I? I've really fucked myself. Oh, we hit the straight. You watch, he's gonna have like ace jack of fucking hearts now, isn't he? Hey, we get through. What is happening? This is so bad. I can't even turn. Can I turn Javaro off? I can, kind of. Fuck me. This has turned from the chillest stream in the world to the most stressful. I'm just what? Oh, I don't know. Making wild plays. It's always when I'm streaming as well. When I'm off stream, as you saw from the graph a minute ago, everything's just nice and safe and to the point, and nothing ever goes wrong. And as soon as I start streaming, that's it. Getting check raised, getting fucking 4-bet, all that good stuff. And I've just got to sit here and bend over and take it. Okay. Okay, now I think what we should do with the 8-5 offsuit is jam all in for 128 big blinds. So we're just gonna, no, of course we're not gonna do that. How'd you go in there? How'd you go in there for a second? Go on, I'll cold call. King Jack. Favorite hand of the day. Actually, no, it's Ace Jack. Ace Jack is the hand of the fucking day. Obviously, c-bet, or c-bet and 3-betting even. The Ace King suited. Get the fold. Nope. Ace 6 suited is one of those hands that it's like, I always find it looks prettier than it is. Eight seven. Go with the 8-7 from under the gun. A little bit loose for some, but I like 8-7 suited under the gun. Yo, thanks for the follow, Mara Jiko. If you don't mind if I just call you Mara. What is this nonsense? I don't know, but there's lots of recreationals about. I think there's argument there for coming in for the 4-bet, but quite happy to go for the ball, despite being out of position. And yeah, I think we need to go for that there. And I mean, the ace on the river is just the worst card in the world, isn't it? Only slightly surpassed by a club on the river. Kings, what? How do you not c-bet kings there? Fuck me. He would have had my stat. If he'd c-bet the flop, that's it. He's got my stat, because I was going to check raise. Wow, fair enough. I guess the ace saved us both some... Well, I guess the ace saved me some money. Because there wasn't many other cards apart from an ace that I was going to be going with there. Okay, now I'm just going to rep like a weak diamond. And if he calls, then so be it. But he doesn't. Nines is a call. I was looking at some charts and shit for small blind versus big blind when facing a 3-bet the other day, and nines is a raise call apparently. And yeah, we can just easily fold that. There's 2 overs. Wow, that's okay, I'm just gonna rip it in here. He's only got slightly over pot, and if he calls, you know, we're never dead. Pocket jacks. Well, we're actually slightly ahead. That's surprising. Well, obviously, we're never getting there because, you know, never fucking lucky, but I'm a little bit surprised to have been ahead there. I thought if he was calling with anything, it was going to be either a made flush or an overpair with a diamond. But there we are. There we are. Another day, another losing session on stream. Catch me never for when I win off stream. It's not a bad flop, really. We've got gut shot to the effective nuts, got backdoor nut flush draw. Ace would probably be good most of the time. And we block the nuts as well. Now. Ridiculous, guys. Actually ridiculous. I'm not even going to try and carry on playing music because I don't know if this is what keeps buggering it up, but my microphone keeps disconnecting. Very yeah, inconvenient really, isn't it, when you're trying to stream to the masses. Okay. Back to cards, eh? The only problem I've got now is because I'm not listening to music anymore, I won't know if my fucking audio interface drops out. So be relying on your kind selves to tell me. Yeah, ace7 suit is not strong enough there. Don't laugh, mate. Going for the loose open with the deuce. What am I at? Yeah. So I was down 2 buy-ins on stream on Sunday, and then off stream I won 2 buy-ins back, and now I'm streaming again and I've lost 2 buy-ins again. It's like fucking clockwork. We can call at least one here, and probably give up the turn if he decides to come again. No. Just have sevens. Nah, not good enough. Not good enough for me. Defended the 8-5 suited, and multi-way. I think this might be a fold. If I was heads up, I'd probably go for a check raise. I think multi-way should be folding that. Mainly because the 10 especially hits the buttons range really well, and they're the one who's betting out. Flop of the nut flush over here. I'll be betting this size on like any 2 cards pretty much. I'll go for slightly over half pot bet, I think. That'll do it. Over here we raised the ace king pre, we checked on this board which is terrible for us, and now we've hit top pair, top kicker. Gonna bet. And maybe win, maybe lose. Definitely be one of the two. And we win that one. King queen suited. We called a 3-bet. And I think we are going to be looking to check call most of the way. The ace is a fucking awful card. Interesting, slightly weird in fact that he decides to check on the ace. Well, I mean, I suppose you could have like a weak ace, like ace 5, ace jack, ace queen, ace jack. There you go. Looking to pot control, I guess. Three bet or fold. There is no call button. None at all. The singer from my my band, which is a band but isn't a band because we've never actually like played together, has just messaged me. Basically, in the middle of right in the middle of the year, guy I used to play with in college sent me a message about getting a band together. We got everyone like arranged. Everyone was happy to do it. And then the place where I live went into local lockdown, so I couldn't leave. So we couldn't meet up for practice, and now like the whole of Wales is going into lockdown. I'm gonna come in for a raise here. I think a lot of the time he's just gonna fold. He does there, yeah. The board was better for our range really. Yeah, he's basically just messaged us all, just saying like, yeah, let's just try and put something together, like virtually, basically. Could be a good idea. Could be. Good idea. %, fold to 3-bet. Guess what, mate? You're getting 3-bet. Guess what? A bit top pair. Question is, do I want to c-bet or check? I think I'm going to check this one. My hand doesn't stand up very well to check raises at all. But I can quite comfortably check and then call on the turn. Sometimes you'll have something better than me, sometimes you'll hit something on the river, but I think overall we're better off doing that and then, you know, making a mockery of his ace-9. Wait, we got ace-king suited, that'll do. Apparently that won't do because play with me. Guys, play with me. I'm fun. I stack off. Sometimes. Sometimes I stack off. Okay. I'm gonna come in for a pretty wide 3-bet. And obviously I'm folding against like any jam. Wow. Decent. I guess we'll go for the check here. We're going to check with more or less a whole range, I think. And now, yeah, I guess we'll go for the 1/3. We need to try and get some sort of money in there if we want to get stacks in by the river. It's unfortunate that our opponent's got nothing there, which you can't do a lot about that. Like if they've got nothing there, most of the time they're never going to put money in at any point. They're only doing that if they've got something. I think we'll just call the 3-bet here, given that we've got position. If we're out position, I might look to 4-bet, I might look to fold, but in position, I'm quite happy to just call it. And yeah, let's see where we go from here. Yeah, I'm going to put some money in. I think we can get called by like ace-10, ace-queen some of the time. Quite happy to get a fold there. Don't mind that. Don't mind that at all. I say with my dodgy accent. Oh, we got the kings. There's 25 bigs against some random guy on the internet clicking buttons. I think I'm calling ace-10 off. Against king-9. Oh, you dominated me. Boom, there you go. That's what you get. What you get for clicking buttons on the internet. This is a bad turn. Our opponent's gonna have some stuff that's got a 10 in it, quite a lot, I think. I'm quite happy to check it back. If he's got 8-9 and he's now just hit straight, then so be it, kind of thing. But yeah, gives him the opportunity to do something stupid when he's completely missed as well. All of a sudden, guys, we're actually clawing this back a little bit, you know? We're not quite we're near down as much as we were. We were down 2 buy-ins and we've made like 75% of that back, I think. It's not about, it's, you know, I mean, it is about winning and losing, but it's not about winning and losing. It's about how well you've played. I think I've played okay. I think there's certainly some spots, particularly a few hands with ace jack earlier. It's like 2 or 3 hands in a row where I had ace jack, and I think I just completely fucked it. Frank, I think I was trying to get too freaky. I was trying to go for value too thinly, maybe. And royally got effed in the A. But yeah, since then I think we've done okay. Also a couple of wild spots where I decided to check raise where I really shouldn't have, but there we are. What can you do? Gonna check this again. No good to me. And what we'll do in a sec here is we'll just see how the lines are looking today. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to call that a sesh. Make sure our hands get in here. Come on. Waiting for my balance to update on stars, because once that updates, then that'll tell me that all the hands are completed, and then I can get them into my HUD review software, all that bollocks. You can see what we did today. I'm definitely down, I know that much. It's just a case of how down am I and how good or bad did I perform, basically. Come on, fuck me. Taking a sweet time. Literally, I'm just waiting for this little number here to adjust. Because it will adjust. There we go. 301. So we're down like just under a buy-in, I think. Or just over, or exactly. So let's close down stars. And how did we do today? What is the date today? It's 22nd, right? Okay. Okay, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Let's get this on the screen so you guys can see. So yeah, I'm not terribly upset by that. I'm glad that the red line is still looking around break even. It was doing pretty badly earlier. In fact, the red line accounted for a large proportion of what we were down by. But we've managed to claw that back up a bit, which has helped our green line. And then as well with a couple of pots, one at Showdown. And all right there. Obviously the biggest pot that we won. In fact, we haven't won any pots at Showdown for a full stack. Once again, which is the same on the last stream as well. We just could not get max value from any situation, and this was the closest one. Where we jammed on the river once we made our flush, but it's it's always hard in these spots. It's a lot easier if you hit a backdoor than front door flush. This hand where we check called the whole way down. In fact, we didn't check call. We checked back on the flop and then just called. Is our opponent's ace-9. This hand where we called a 4-bet, made a really weird raise on the flop. Check turn, jammed river. Fucking, it makes no sense whatsoever. And then our biggest losing hand actually was where we were ever so slightly ahead against the pocket jacks. We had 51%. And that was actually the only hand that we lost for a stack or more. Or less actually. It was actually less than a stack. So yeah, here's these ace jack hands. This one here where we fucked it on the river by going for thin value. Could have saved ourselves some money and potentially made some money if in the short, small world where you might be bluffing. Here, this one was a weird one where we 3-bet, a guy calls, we check, they bet almost full pot, and then they overbet turn massively. I took that to mean they've probably got a hand like jacks, which, you know, what can you do? I think maybe I should have checked jammed on the flop, potentially, but there we are. And then this one here, where we 3-bet with the ace jack, we c-bet this flop, and they raised, and then it was just, we just straight out folded, so I think we made a mistake. I think we maybe should have checked on this flop. Yeah, but overall, like, I mean, I'm not too worried about it. There's a few mistakes in here which did cost me today. But you know, I think we were a little bit unfortunate not to get more out of some of our made hands, and we were a little bit unfortunate not to, you know, not to win this flip and some stuff like that. So anyway, I'll leave you there, guys, and I will catch you again probably on Sunday now. And we'll do this again. Thanks for coming out. Ta.